Welcome back, Knuckleheads. I am Lupine Fiasco, and this is Daily FaB Gameplay. For anyone who's new to the channel, welcome to the jungle. What we do here is review replays of games that I played on the Talishar client days or weeks ago, after enough time has passed, that I lose my bias and can more objectively judge the quality of my play. I will talk through turn cycles and give my thoughts on the line I would take now, compared to the line I took then at the time of recording. We either reinforce good play patterns or identify areas for improvement for the purpose of tightening and improving our gameplay in the future to take down paper events like the upcoming Skirmish and ProQuest season, and, most importantly, walk away with that shiny cardboard. If you'd like to check out the list I'm playing here or try it for yourself on Talishar, there is a FaB deck link in the video description below. While you're down there, if you haven't already done so, please consider a YouTube subscription. It is the best free way to support me and to make sure that you see daily FaB gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. The best paid way to support me is through Patreon, and a Patreon link is also in the video description. A Patreon subscription will get you access to the DFG Discord and the shiny cardboard Talishar card back. At higher tiers, your name will appear in every DFG video, and you could receive bonus DFG content every week. Daily FaB gameplay will always be free 5 days a week, so those who can afford to patronize me, I truly appreciate it. I also now am on X, and if you would like to see memes, inane comments, and the occasional self-promotion, head on over to X and follow Lupine Fiasco. Now, without further ado, let's talk about our sideboard and about our game plan. Riptide is probably in the best position he's ever been, meta-wise, as far as countering the best deck. His traps are all really effective at stopping Zen. Zen's attacks have go again. They usually have bonus power. And Riptide can sustain through a lot of what Zen is trying to do. And for Kayo's perspective, that's bad. Riptide is actually a bad matchup for Kayo because the same things that Riptide can do to Zen, Riptide can do to us. Our attacks all have bonus power because of our might. They usually have go again because of how our deck is constructed. So it's important to know how to play against Riptide. There are a couple lists floating around. There's Fatigue Riptide with Dreadbore, a ton of traps, anywhere over 60 cards. And then there is Azalea Light with Laces, Seeks and Destroys, or the general arrow buffs, and Riptide being able to take advantage of his hero power to play a buff from hand, load the arsenal for free, and then shoot a 0-cost arrow. It's a 2-card 7, 2-card 8 with bonus value from the Lace that no other ranger is capable of doing. As far as our Riptide plan, no equipment changes. Not that any of it ever would. We are not fat stacking Riptide. If he is on a fatigue plan, so be it. We will deal with that as it comes. We want to stay on that lean 60. The only change we're making is we are bringing Cast Bones in, and we are cutting Pulping. Red Pulping, one of the best cards in our deck, really sad to see it go. The number of defense reactions that Riptide runs, even the more aggressive lace-heavy Riptide, is going to be playing defense reactions, and the fact that Riptide can play a defense reaction from hand, load a defense reaction using the hero power, and then play that D-react from Arsenal to stop our Pulping means that we cannot play Pulping. We have to take it out. Cast Bones, actively good in this matchup in turn cycles where maybe Riptide took some cards from us, maybe we were able to attack with a Wild Ride or an E-Strike that had go again. Riptide hit us with that inertia trap, and rather than lose our entire hand to the inertia, we could play the Cast Bones to bank some value for the next turn. So Pulping coming out isn't the worst thing. Amnesia, actively bad in this matchup. Weakest Link, actively bad in this matchup. I think the only card Riptide could even be playing that Weakest Link cares about is Rain Razors, and that really isn't worth bringing it in. The other 2-cost attacks that we would think about cutting would be Bear Fangs or Pack Hunt, and those are all going to be good against Riptide. Even if we are opening ourselves up to Inertia Trap, that's fine because we're still just punching Riptide really hard. That is our game plan here, just punch Riptide really hard. The one change I would make from the other sort of slower, mid-rangey matchups is that we're usually going to be playing our Blood Rush Bellas as we draw them rather than trying to set up a 5-card Blood Rush because of Inertia Trap. Inertia Trap is not the strongest trap in Riptide's deck, but Inertia itself is very difficult for us to set up around. And usually by the time you have committed to not playing a Blood Rush, it is too late to get value from your Blood Rush because you were expecting to arsenal it. So you've probably already pitched in such a way that you can't convert that Blood Rush into value. You are just bottoming a card and hoping you draw into it later, which, because Kayo doesn't shuffle, you're unlikely to do. So play your Blood Rushes as you draw them. Outside of that, hit Riptide real hard, and he should die. Opening hand is good. We drew a wind-up. We have a Bear Fangs that we get to stick in Arsenal. Bear Fangs Agility, very good together. We do not want to give Riptide the ability to filter. Riptide is on Balance of Justice. Stonewall Gauntlet, which is not good against Kayo. Kayo can break the chain at any point and suffer no downside, but we understand that's there for Zen. Barbed Castaway, pretty interesting weapon for Riptide to be using. I expect that is for aim counters. We'll see what that does for Riptide going into the rest of this game. But for now, there's nothing really out of the ordinary. We see that Riptide is not on Dreadbore and only brought 60 cards, so we are not expecting to need to play around any kind of fatigue strategy. We draw into some real gas here. Riptide opens with a Seek and Destroy. That's fine. We can happily just play out our hand. What is a little less fortunate for us is the arrow in Riptide's arsenal. Immobilizing Shot, because it has an aim counter, if it hits, I would say that we only get one attack action and one non-attack action card in our turn. Obviously, we would like to do much more than that. So, there are also Seek and Destroys tied to this. So, what we can do is block 6 with our Swing Big and our Run Roughshod. On our turn, we discard a Mighty Windup to make 2 mites, and then attack with Bear Fangs from Arsenal by pitching our Beast Within. We get no additional value, but we do just mitigate some damage. There is no way to get a really good turn out of this hand unless we wanted to give all of our armor and a card from hand to stop the Immobilizing Shot, which I really don't want to do. So block for 6 with Swing Big, Run Roughshod, and then on our turn discard Wind-Up, play Bear Fangs. Seems fine. We play around Seek and Destroy as well. Blocking for 10 with Swing Big, Run Roughshod, Sash, and Bonebreaker just doesn't really seem to do anything for us. Having 4 additional health here is pretty marginal at this point in time, and preventing the Immobilizing Shot on hit and the Seek and Destroy doesn't seem relevant. So I don't know why I did that. Trying to make the Beast Within play here actually does make sense. That is a compelling reason to block with armor. At the same time, I don't know that it was the smartest thing to do. if we did discard our Beast Within, there's the chance that we draw into a 2 for 6 and a blue that lets us claw 2 for 6. Overall, yeah, I think it was probably worth it, but I could definitely have seen us making the opposite play where we just take 4 more damage, get destroyed, and then just play a really solid 3-card hand. Attack for 10, generate 2 mites, be at 36, but have more armor. And I think if I was going to go, seeing how either option went, even if we were able to discard our Beast Within, I think the downside of missing is greater than the upside of hitting. Now obviously if we had kept that swing big and drawn a blue, we would have gotten 11 more damage and I would have said, oh, what a genius. But I don't like this play. Here we are getting hit by another immobilizing shot. This one does not have an aim counter, so this is just 4 damage. And the hand that we draw into is really good if we keep all of these cards. We get to attack with Mandible Claw, pitch Mighty Windup, discard Agile Windup to make Might and Agility, give Claw Go again, and then we attack with Run Roughshod with our floating resource and arsenal a Send Packing. So to me, that seems great. We're not going to block for 4. We are just going to keep 4 cards and convert them to offense. The other great thing about this hand is if we attack with the Mandible Claw and get Inertia trapped, we have the out to play Send Packing instead of arsenaling it. Mandible Claw for 4, we'll definitely have Go again, and we get to plan what our turn looks like. Based on how Riptide blocks, we do see the Inertia Trap. Unfortunately, it came from Arsenal, so Send Packing is only representing 6 damage. That said, being able to attack for 6 and not get hit by the Inertia is much better than attacking for 5 and getting hit by the Inertia. This does just put us into a position to push damage and keep our hand clear. We also set up Might and Agility. Riptide here attacking with E-Strike for 5. The mode is draw a card. And we are in the position I talked about where we have this Blood Rush Bellow with sort of a suboptimal hand for it. There are other things I would like to do with these 4 cards than play this Blood Rush. If I didn't think that Riptide could put an Inertia Trap together, I would E-Strike for 5, draw a card, get Go again for my Agility, hope for something like a 2 for 6 or a Send Packing, pitch my other blue to play it, and then Arsenal Blood Rush. But I don't want to get hit by that 3rd Inertia Trap that I know Riptide still has. So we are going to take this 5 kind of no matter what. But the hand we are going to play on our turn is much different against Riptide than it would be against a hero without Inertia Trap. We are going to play the Blood Rush Bellow. We'll pitch Riled Up to do it, discard our Smash Instinct, and see what we draw into. Draw into E-Strike Wrecker Romp. It's kind of an awkward hand. Thankfully, we do have Agility, so what we can do is E-Strike for 5, draw a card. So 6, Go again, draw. Spend 2 to attack with Mandible Claw, and then pitch Wrecker Romp into whatever we find. We really do not want to Arsenal Wrecker Romp ever. So finding Send Packing makes this turn actually very good. Where we get to Mandible Claw for 5, Go again, and then Send Packing for 8. Seeing a Boulder Trap from Riptide as well as that Inertia Trap. This is why we play out our Blood Rush Bellows when we see them, because of the potential for this. Boulder Trap getting 2 points of value plus the 3 from defense is fantastic value for Riptide. Can't play around it. The Inertia Trap, we did put ourselves into a position to play around, which is great. Riptide does still have the Balance of Justice. It did just block, so we are expecting that Riptide would break it here. And between 2 potential 3 blocks in hand and Perch Grapplers, Riptide could protect this Murkmire Grapnel, but I would be surprised if he did. Grapnel does absolutely nothing against Kayo besides be 4 points of damage. And in fact, that is what we see happen. Riptide just takes the damage. Plays a Codex of Frailty. Loads, then bottoms a card from hand to Trench, which is really nice trick from Riptide, and grabs an Immobilizing Shot. So we have some options for what we want to do. We could grab our Send Packing, discard maybe Command and Conquer, get hit by the Immobilizing Shot. Immobilizing Shot here will have an aim counter because of Barbed Castaway, so we do need to anticipate only being able to do 1 action and 1 non-attack action. Not that that is a problem for this hand. It's more a question of, are we grabbing an arsenal that we want to play, or are we grabbing an arsenal that we want to set up with? We could grab a Send Packing and look to punish the Ponder, putting a card in arsenal. If we grab a Swing Big or a Send Packing, we can discard Wild Ride, we can block with Command and Conquer, then we can play the Arsenal card by pitching Mighty Windup and Arsenal Cast Bones. And what that would do for us is get the Cast Bones out of our hand so that we can, on a future turn, pull Wild Ride or E-Strike Go again, then play Cast Bones, which is great value. So what I would like to do, based on how this hand is constructed, the fact that we do have a Wild Ride, I want to get a card, discard Wild Ride, block with CNC, play the card from Arsenal, then Arsenal Cast Bones. So do I want damage or do I want disruption? Riptide still has armor. Riptide is going to have a 5-card hand. I would rather have Swing Big than Send Packing. So I would like to grab Swing Big, discard Wild Ride. And that is what I do. So we have Barbed Castaway, flip up, and put an aim counter on Immobilizing Shot as we expected. I want to block with Command and Conquer. I do not want to block with Bonebreaker. For one thing, Bonebreaker doesn't have block value anymore because it has 2 Battle Worn counters. So Bonebreaker now is just a point of might whenever we want to cash it in. But I don't believe we want to cash it in now. Currently, our Frailty and our Might cancel each other out. So Swing Big will attack for 8. We cannot get hit by Inertia Trap, Boulder Trap, because we do not have an attack with power greater than its base. But if we block with Bonebreaker, we make 2 mites, and 1 of those mites will get over the Frailty, so now we are vulnerable to traps. And because our Bonebreaker does not have any value besides making a Might token more or less on demand, we can cash it in whenever we want. We get no value by blocking. The only value is the Might token, and here the extra Might token is a liability. If we were to get hit by an Inertia Trap here, that would be actively very bad for us. Now, Riptide has the Frailty Trap, not anything that punishes power greater than its base, so we get away with the Bonebreaker block, but I do think it was wrong. I would have preferred not to have made that blocking decision. CNC for 6. We have armor that we could cash in if we really wanted to, but we do have 6 points of block in our hand, and Riptide, to my knowledge, does not have any attack reaction that would affect Command and Conquer. So we're anticipating that Riptide's line here is CNC Arsenal. And if Riptide is going to CNC Arsenal, we get to Wild Ride for 5 Go Again, make a Might, then play Cast Bones. And that Cast Bones now has the buffer of only needing to reveal 5 hits. So I love this block. Cover 6, play out the Wild Ride, and make a Might, play Cast Bones, go from there. The Wild Ride hits, thankfully, gets Go Again, makes a Might. Riptide gives us Immobilizing Shot on defense, and we get to play Cast Bones. Extremely thankful that we made that Might from Wild Ride, because we do reveal a Blood Rush Bellow, which would have put us into a position where we do not make the agility. And if we don't make the agility, this hand is potentially not very good. We reveal a Send Packing and a yellow Bear Fangs on top of our deck. So play Blood Rush, pitch Agile Windup, float 2. We're going to discard one of these yellows and then draw into 2 more. So looking like a pretty good Sash turn. We see that Riptide did have that last Inertia Trap in hand, so we are free of them for now. We can set up for as long as it takes for Riptide to shuffle his deck. This Command and Conquer is going to connect. We have no reason to block this, and it is just vanilla damage. We've got Riptide at 17 right now. 4 points of armor, potentially a 5th. The Stonewall Gauntlet gets value, which if it blocks this turn, it will. But we are in a fantastic position this game. Drawing into Send Packing, Bear Fangs, Wild Ride. We need to break Sash if we want to attack with 2 of these attack actions. If we do not break Sash, we would attack with Send Packing, pitch a yellow, then need to pitch our second yellow to attack with Mandible Claw. I would much rather Send Packing Bear Fangs than Send Packing Mandible Claw. Trading in our Sash for 4 points of value, and also playing around Collapsing Trap, because we get to keep 2 cards in our hand. That does give us the option to pitch a blue into our Mandible Claw if we do end up getting Collapsing Trapped. If we did not break Sash here, pitch yellow to play Send Packing, and we do get Collapsing Trapped, our turn ends. So I think breaking Sash here, while not the greatest Sash turn, we are a resource short of being able to work a Mandible Claw into this turn. Send Packing for 14 Go Again with a follow-up by Bear Fangs is really, really good. And we see that Riptide did have the Collapsing Trap in Arsenal. It would not have connected unless we opened with something else, but always good to be aware of what Riptide could do to you. So Riptide protects the Collapsing Trap, gets us hand and arsenal, hand and armor, we break the chain, make sure this Bear Fangs does have its additional point of power. Riptide plays the Collapsing Trap, only gets 3 points of value out of it, and is just going to pass the turn. We draw into kind of the standard Go Again Cast Bones line. E-Strike being itself not a Wild Ride is actively very good for us. We can E-Strike Go Again, bottom our Bear Fangs, and then play Cast Bones, and set up for Cast Bones Blood Rush. I don't see a reason to do anything else, although in game I choose to bottom the Blood Rush. Interesting. I don't know. I mean, Bear Fangs with agility is very good if we do just hit, but there is a very good chance that we don't just hit off the top of our deck. And I would rather have Blood Rush and Arsenal than Bare Fangs if there's a chance that I could reveal 5 attacks and not 6. So I think bottoming the Blood Rush here is just a mistake. I mean, when we hit just 6 hits off the top of our deck, then, you know, Bare Fangs is kind of the same thing, but does just seem wrong to me. Showing that we have 2 blues on top of our deck for after we Bare Fangs. Deadeye Reload gives Riptide a Murky Water. This does not have an aim counter on it, so it does not have Dominate, and Deadeye is not active. Looking at the traps that Riptide has, we see Collapsing Trap and Inertia Trap as the relevant 3. There's a Frailty Trap in here, there's a Boulder Trap, but I'm anticipating that the 3 traps Riptide would choose are 2 Inertia Traps and a Collapsing Trap. The question is, do we care? We could cover the Murky Water with Flesh Bag, Scab Skin, probably CNC, and Riled Up. Then on our turn, we attack with Bare Fangs, pitch a blue, hope to discard Beast Within, and draw 2 blues. Riptide is at 8, effectively 10 with armor and a 4-card hand. But, like, why? We don't care. Inertia Trap at this point does not matter. We are going to play out our entire hand and probably win the game with it. If Riptide plays Collapsing Trap, that's fine too. We're going to play our Bare Fangs from Arsenal. We're either going to discard Beast Within to the Bare Fangs, have a 4-card hand, and then get 2 of those back when we get Collapsing Trapped, or we don't discard Beast Within, have 3 cards, discard Beast Within to the Collapsing Trap, and then draw 2 or 3 cards. I don't remember if Collapsing Trap is rounded up or down, but effectively we have at least 2 cards in our hand either way. After attacking with Bare Fangs for 14 go again, we're fine. If Riptide wants to hit us for 9 and put a trap in Arsenal, we're good. We are easily doing 20 damage on our turn, which is going to be enough to take Riptide's entire hand, put him very low on life, and put us in a position to keep tempo. We have a 12-point life lead. We're at 20. Let's just take 9 points of damage. Totally fine. Riptide does choose 2 Inertia Traps and a Collapsing Trap. At this point, we are not sure which one Riptide has. We kind of hope that it is Inertia Trap. I think that is better for us. Discarding a blue. Real quick, I want to talk about why I attacked Bare Fangs and not Command and Conquer. Command and Conquer for 12 go again says, I don't care what your trap in Arsenal is because you don't get to play it and you have to give me your entire hand at minimum to protect it. But then I only get to do one more thing because Mandible Claw would not have go again. And the 3 cards that I would have left in my hand, 2 blues and one blue and a Beast Within, that's really bad. I don't want those. I pitch Beast Within to attack with Bare Fangs, which doesn't win the game. Then I either have a bad blue to Arsenal, or I draw into something potentially better. Getting to work a Mandible Claw into this turn just says that we deal more damage, and I am already putting Riptide into a position where he needs to give us basically all of his cards to not be dead. So if I can get 3 more damage into this combat chain, that's going to be a lot better for me than potentially getting to snipe an Arsenal. The Beast Within discard there does put us up to 3 cards, so Collapsing Trap, actively good for us. and we get to win the game here. Mandible Claw for 3, putting Riptide either to 2 or getting a card, and then Smash Instinct is going to intimidate away the last card and win the game. And we see that that's what happens. Riptide has nothing left to defend with and is just going to die. So, Cast Bones, absolutely MVP in this matchup. We did play a little loose at times. I do think that Blood Rush Bellow and Arsenal would have been much better than Bare Fangs on that last turn. +2 power to all of our brute attacks. We could sculpt the hand a little better with Beast Within. But obviously it worked out. The loose play was blocking with Apex Bonebreaker, not playing around Inertia Trap. We didn't get punished for it, but as we saw, the Inertia Trap was just a turn late, and if that Inertia Trap was on time, then the Bonebreaker play that got no defensive value and no disruptive value, because it was tied to a swing big, would have cost us 6 points of damage at minimum, and potentially much more because of the agility from the Cast Bones that would have gone to the bottom of the deck. So it's these little micro decisions that can potentially put you into losing positions against your opponents. Just knowing what you're playing around and how to effectively do that is usually going to be the difference between winning or losing. I hope you enjoyed this game. I hope you learned something. If so, be sure to take that like button to Pound Town. My comments are always open for any questions or feedback. If you haven't already done so, please consider a YouTube subscription. They're free. They help me out. I have a Patreon. I have a Twitter. Those links are in the video description below. And until the next time I see you on Daily FaB Gameplay, take care.